This is the forearm, and the positioning for this is pretty straightforward. The technologist will measure the length of the ulna because it's the easiest thing to palpate landmarks. You can measure from the olecranon to the ulna styloid, which is typically palpable. Usually they place the elbow on a table with the arm flexed and the hand pointing towards the ceiling, and they measure the length of the ulna. And that's easy to do. And then 1/3 of that measurement is what's used to determine where the machine will measure the bone density at the point of the radius opposite that 1/3 distance of the ulna. So the full length of the ulna is put into the machine. The machine then determines the size of this region of interest. This is 1/3 the length of the ulna. And coming back 1/3 to this point, across from that point, this part of the radius is the 1/3 radius. The distal part of the region of interest is placed at the distal part of the ulna, and 1/3 back on the ulna, the corresponding level of the radius is what's measured. So that's pretty straightforward. The positioning is done prone. If the patient's left forearm is being measured, typically it's done with the patient supine on the table. They scoot over a little bit, have their arm at their side, and they're able to scan the forearm in that fashion. If the patient's too large to fit on the table, or if the right forearm needs to be measured, for instance, if there's been a previous left forearm fracture and the forearm on the left side can't be accurately measured, then the patient has to be seated in a chair or standing, although that's hard because the table's kind of low, and they lean over and place their forearm onto the table surface to be measured. That's pretty much it for the forearm.